In the 1980s, the AFL almost moved the team to Los Angeles. In 1996, the Melbourne Hawks, the merger of Melbourne and Hawthorn, was super close to happening. And in 1987, the Fremantle Sharks almost became the second WA team in the VFL. We've got those and heaps more in today's video. If you enjoy, make sure to hit the like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. Now to start off, we head back to 1896, where the two first expansion proposals happened. In 1896, North Melbourne wanted to join the VFA/VFL, and that was denied, literally due to Essendon. North was denied entry due to Essendon believing that it would take its recruiting areas. That's 1896 for you. Also in 1896, Port Melbourne were denied entry into the VFL, who play in what's now known as the VFL, and the team that won the bid over them was South Melbourne. In 1908, North Melbourne and West Melbourne merged to create a club named City Football Club. They were denied them again. And in 1921, for the third time, North Melbourne merged with Essendon to apply for a licence. And that still didn't work, when North Melbourne, the standalone club, were finally gained entry into the VFL in 1925. Footscray applied 4 times to be in the VFL until they were finally admitted in 1925. This was due to the shortage of squads from World War I. In 1955, there was a Ballarat Football Club which were inches, and I made pieces of paperwork away from joining the VFL until it was denied at the final hurdle. Then from 1980 to 1996, there were 5 different proposed mergers and relocations of the Fitzroy Football Club. There were the Sydney Lions, the Melbourne Lions, the Fitzroy Bulldogs, and the North Fitzroy Kangaroos Football Club, until in 1996 the Brisbane Lions were finally gained access. In 1980, East Perth of the Waffle decided to bid as the first VFL club outside of Victoria. In the 1980s, this could have an entirely separate video on it, which I would consider making. There was the Los Angeles Crocodiles, which was such a genuine possibility. There were exhibition games held over there. They flew players, coaches over to promote it all over California. It was promoted all over the US. It was an absolutely massive proposal until it was rejected by the VFL. Can you imagine being the West Coast Eagles? Optus Stadium to Adelaide Oval, Optus Stadium to MCG, Optus Stadium to LA. In 1987, East Fremantle and South Fremantle attempted a merger to become the second WA club in the VFL. They were to be known as the Fremantle Sharks and would have played their games at South Fremantle Oval, but that was denied entry. In 1990, Port Adelaide of the SANFL at the time applied for access now into the AFL, where that was denied. In 1990, they actually played a practice match against Geelong at Football Park in front of 35,000 people before they even played in the top level. They ended up actually making legal issues with South Australia, which resulted in the SANFL creating an entirely new club called the Adelaide Crows. There was a really big process in 1990 to have a team in the Australian Capital Territory, but that was met with issues of rugby league being more popular than footy in that area. In the 1990s, Norwood a couple of times tried to have a merger with Sturt and the Adelaide Crows, but that didn't work either time. The Gold Coast side, the Southport Sharks, which currently play in the VFL in 1996, only 1 year after Fremantle entered the league, had a bid as either a standalone club or a merger with North Melbourne. They were seriously considered, but in the end, nothing came from it. In 1996, it's probably one of the most famous mergers in history. The Melbourne Hawks, Melbourne and Hawthorn, were so incredibly close to merging, it's not even funny. The Melbourne Football Club board and members all approved it. They all wanted to become the Melbourne Hawks. I think that's probably maybe because they still had the identity of Melbourne, and Hawthorn lost the identity of Hawthorn and they just became the Hawks, as there was a passionate campaign led by the members, the board, the fans, everyone at Hawthorn to stop this from happening. From the mid-1990s to 2008, there was a really strong push for a Tasmanian team, as there still is now. There's actually an official bid. There'll be voting, and if all the current AFL clubs say yes to it, then we could see a Tasmanian team in the AFL as early as 2025. Tasmania in the 1990s went for a really strong bid, but they were instead given to Fremantle and Port Adelaide. In 2008, they had another strong bid. These licenses were instead given to Gold Coast and GWS. On the voting this year, the only team that disapproves of this is it's Gold Coast. I wonder why. And GWS and Brisbane are the only two neutral teams, and apart from that, all the other AFL teams want them in the comp. In 2018, the government of Northern Territory proposed a really strong push for an AFL side, and Gil McLachlan has considered this more than the Tasmanian bid, which is wild to me. The AFL has stated that their next expansion priority is in Auckland, New Zealand, which I think would be absolutely phenomenal. Look, I don't think you can do this until you have a Tasmanian team, but I'm all up for an Auckland team over a Northern Territory team. I think that one really big push into a different country will provide a lot for the AFL. Growing the game into other countries is just incredible. It would be massive. And the AFL are pushing for this, and yeah, I think it could happen, and it says even as early as 2028. There's also been some little bids from Cairns, but AFL Cairns owns Kazali Stadium, and AFL Cairns is owned by the AFL, and the AFL don't want it to happen. Around the same as like Cairns and far north Queensland, there's been a bit of a bid from Sunshine Coast or a second Brisbane team that hasn't really got anywhere. And there has been talks of a third Perth team, but that hasn't even been mentioned since Andrew Demetrio dig in 2009. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Click the blue join button to become a member and support the channel that little bit extra. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.